Hey there everyone, and welcome back to another Arcane Devlog. So, starting things off this time with a bit of a hike. That's the footage you're seeing right now, of course. I'm not too sure where it was, but it was in a forest somewhere. That's all I know. Bit too much exercise for my liking, but we'll get past it. But yeah, sorry it's taken so long to get this out yet again. I've had quite a few things going on. Nothing too important, just keeping busy. So yeah, I guess that's my excuse. It's not just laziness, I promise. So, last week/month was primarily dedicated to serialization and completing that system. Now that that's all done, we can move on to some more cool stuff. So I've just spent a little bit of time cleaning up the engine and getting rid of all that test serialization stuff. So we're going to move on to continuing on with the world objects. We've just completed the serialization aspect of that, and now we've got to do the world positioning. I believe I did a little bit of work surrounding this, but we're yet to abstract it out into its own position component within the world. So then that's then going to allow us to do some collision and physics work. So yeah, let's move on to that. Alright, so the past few days I've actually been working on getting the relative transform serialized, and within this it actually had quite a few data types that needed to be serialized which weren't supported yet, so I just had to go through and update that. It required a bit of reworking on the serialization side of things to actually get working. Anyway, so now that we have positioning all set up, we can actually move on to working on collision detection and physics and whatnot. So I've just gone and done a quick SketchUp of the entity structure. So this is how the player and all the other various monsters and whatnot are going to be sort of structured within the game. So we have this base class here called the Arcane Entity. So that's basically going to implement what every entity has in common, health and whatnot. But then each specific entity, like the player, that might add on to the system. So it might give stamina, mana, and all that other stuff. And the entity is going to actually have a collision component, so that's what we're going to move on to with physics and colliding and whatnot. So that's going to be a separate component this is going to implement. Then moving down into the player, so this is a subclass of an arcane entity. It's actually going to have well, it's not going to own the camera per se, but the camera is going to be mainly focused towards the player. It's just going to follow the player and other focus regions that I'll have set up. We'll do a camera system eventually. So all the references to the items and all of the progression data of the player, so upgrades, spells, whatnot, that's going to be stored within the player itself. And then the UI system, so like the inventory system or whatnot, it's merely just going to reference that data stored within the player. So first things first, we need to work on this collision component and work on getting the just core API this all down pat. So yeah, let's just get to it. Alrighty, so I'm just doing a bit of a quick update. The past few days I've been working on researching and just trying to implement a collision/physics system into the game. I was originally going down the path of using Box 2D, so just using an existing physics engine. I set that up, I got it sort of working, but yeah, as usual, I've just decided to completely scrap that and create my own system, so that's what I've begun to do now. So yeah, I guess we'll just keep chipping away then. Okay, so I've recently been working on the debug drawing of collision. So just here, we're creating two world objects and we're each giving them their own collision. So one's a player, it's going to be dynamic, it's going to be able to move around, and one is static, which is just the ground. And what I've basically been trying to do is render the collision, so it's a lot easier to debug. I've done that. It's very inefficient. It doesn't need to be efficient because it's only for debug purposes. So if we just run this to see what's going on, the collision for the player and the ground are actually being rendered and shown. So we've got a visual aspect of it now. Yeah, that's all that's left to do. Is just do the actual collision aspect of things. I feel like I've been working on this collision system for an absolute eternity now. I think it's been like a good month or so since I've done any updates. Haven't gone anywhere at all. I've just been going around in circles the whole time and just, yeah, nothing just works. So, yeah, I haven't gone very far with this. I have been working on it an absolute ton, but yeah, I think this is the point where I just scrap this whole system and start over again. So, that's what we're gonna do, because it's pretty broken at the moment. Yeah. Okay, so I've finally gone and implemented collision properly into the game. Everything's relatively stable now. This has taken me a long time to do, yet again. I think it's been a good couple weeks now. But yeah, we should finally be done with this. I'm yet to actually implement it properly into the game. Right now it's just, as you can see, it's following a mouse cursor. It's not actual velocity updates, but it works. And I guess that's all that matters. I'm not too sure if it's going to stay working. And the good thing about using the separating axis theorem is not only does it work with just aligned axis boxes, it can also work with any sort of convex shape. So now that collision's all finished up, I decided to move on to the physics aspects of things. So actually getting gravity, acceleration, deceleration, friction, and bounce into the game. That is, for the most part, all finished up now. There's a few bugs I want to go over, like with the slopes here. It's a bit jittery, but yeah, for the most part, it's pretty much done. So yeah, I'll show you an example of bounce in effect if we just turn all these on. So yeah, there's still a little bit of polishing to do, but for the most part, it's completely done. So yeah, that's pretty much the physics and collision side of things, all finished up. It's taken me quite a while to get all that done. I stumbled on a bit of a block and I just got very demotivated because I just couldn't find a solution to all of it, but eventually we got there. I've never done that sort of stuff before, so a bit of a learning experience, and yeah, I'm glad that's over and done with. There's a few more refinements that need doing with the physics system, with the slopes and whatnot, but I'll just do that further down the track whenever it needs doing, so yeah, for now we can just leave it as it is and move on to the next thing. Anyway, that's going to be all for this devlog. I'll try and get another devlog out in a fortnight or so. Don't quote me on it because it's probably not going to happen, but yeah, I guess we'll just see how things go. Anyway, thank you all for your patience and for sticking around and watching the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.